stitchy friends. This is Michelle, and this is my channel, Penny's Daughter Shares, where I primarily talk about cross stitching, but I also do some quilting, or working on it, I should say. And I'm sure some other kinds of crafting endeavors are going to sneak in there from time to time. Today is Flosstube 6. If you've seen me before, thanks for coming back. If this is the first time you're seeing my channel, thanks for checking me out. If you like it, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. How was your week? It's been a week since I've been on here. I have had a pretty good week. Not as productive as I would like it to be, but I think I would always say that no matter what happens, no matter how much I do, which is silly. And I've learned that as a child and with parents that we're always wanting to get more and more done. So maybe some of you are like me out there, or am I just weird? I'm not sure. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a story. Something that I think was really good that happened this week. So, well, I got my hair done, but this is not styled from the salon. This is me blowing it dry, and I can't get it as smooth as Jamie does when she does my hair. I wish I could. And I'm gonna try not to play with it too much. I never have it totally down like this, but I thought I would give it a try. I thought for the video I could handle it. We'll see. If it's really driving me crazy, I'll probably pause and go pull it back, which is what it usually is. Anyway, got my hair done this week earlier, and when I left the salon, it's in like a little downtown area, and I was walking to my car, and I'd only taken a couple of steps from the salon door, and this is what I found. And it was like, not that I was gonna step on it, but it was in plain sight, and for anyone that knows this, I always check the year. This one is 2018, not a particularly significant year for me, but I just still like to check. Sometimes it is significant and seems to relate to something. And I wasn't asking to hear from my mom this week. Nothing really going on that I know of. So I'm not sure. But like as soon as I saw it, it was like, I just felt like my heart filled with joy. Like she was saying hi to me. And when I picked it up, I don't know, it just made me smile. So that makes for a very good week for me if I find a penny. So that's my story for today. And I think I'm gonna jump right in. I don't think I have as much to show you this time, but a few things I'm pretty proud of. So the first thing I'm going to start with is I'll call it a previous finish. I just finished it, I think it was the end of May. And it was a birthday gift for my bestie, and we met in college, and I remember specifically meeting her, but yet I can't remember ever not having Jen as part of my life. So we met in college. We did not grow up near each other. We did not grow up in the same sort of environment. I grew up on a farm. She grew up in the city. So, or maybe not city, a very urban area. So just very different. But from the moment we met, it was just like this instant connection, and we're not really much alike, which is very funny to us, but whatever, we just kind of fit together like a pieces of a puzzle. And fortunately, we have lived basically a couple of subdivisions apart for, gosh, almost 15 years now, I think. It's been a while, so it's really awesome to be really close. Anyway, so she had a big birthday this year, and I wanted to do something special for her. So I stitched up, this is a Mill Hill kit. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can hold it without a glare. There we go. Okay, Mill Hill kit, and I'll read to you what it says. So it's a curly girl design Mill Hill kit called On My Left. And it says on here, since things don't always go right, it's nice to have someone like you on my left. Okay? Which is us in a nutshell, because we would drop anything for each other, and we have. So, and you can see this one here, which she is on the left in the picture. She has shorter hair. Jen has shorter hair and pretty much has since we've known each other. And I've pretty much had longer hair, a few years of short hair, but mostly this is how you would distinguish us. Know who we were. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. This looks like Jen, this looks like Michelle. How about that? And so I thought it was really funny that I was giving her this, and it says to have someone like you on my left, and she's on my left in the picture, is how I feel about it. So anyway, that's the kit, and I need some changes, but I'll show that to you as I show you. So this is a full finish because I gave it as a gift. And here it is. Can you see? So I mounted it on, let's see, trying to see where I got this. It's like a wood plaque. I think I got this from Michael's. And if I remember right, it's about a 10 by 10. It was finished like this. It was finished white. It was perfect. Perfect, perfect when I found it. And it has a hanger here on the top. I added this little bow, but excuse me. She does not hang it up. I gave it to her on an easel, and that's how she displays it. I don't know if you can kind of see the easel. There'll be a picture on the video either at the beginning, so you'll have already seen it, and it's standing on the easel. Here, I'll just show you the easel really quick in case you're interested. And this I found at Hobby Lobby, but I don't think they have it anymore because I wanted to get a couple more because I like it for myself too. Can't find it yet, so I'm gonna keep looking. But anyway, okay, so this plaque was finished white, just like this, kind of a little bit distressed. And okay, I'm not gonna complain. We have a tremendous amount of sunlight today, woo, and cool temperatures. But the light pours in through my window, but if I pull the blind down, then it's really dark on the video. So we're gonna have a little bit of glow over here, and I'll try to get everything to show up good, and I'll try to pay attention to that. So anyway, then this is just a piece of sticky board. This is Priscilla's Pretty Plaids, the black and white. And then just some piping that I had. It's just black that I added in there as layers, okay? And then the stitch itself is mounted on a board. This fabric, you can't tell very well in here now that it's put together. It's quite translucent. It's not very opaque. And so when I put like white batting behind it, I did not like it at all. in particular because of all of these words that I did that are stitched in black on a translucent fabric, I needed something dark to put behind it. All right, I'm going to try to adjust this just a little. I apologize for the bump. Okay, is that any better? Not really. Okay, we're gonna give it one more little, okay. Does that help? A little bit. Okay. So like I was saying, when I tried to put and it wasn't even white batting, it was natural, whatever. It was really light. You could see every space where that thread was carried, right, in those words. So I used a dark color piece of felt, which gave me enough of a cushion of, how do I want to describe that? A little puffiness behind there to mount it to, and then voila, you can't see any of the carried threads. Isn't that awesome? I think that's awesome. Okay, I added this little charm. There's some beads, mostly here in the borders, and then a little bit in this hat here, and those were all part of the kit. Now, if you remember, here's the picture. See that cute dog in the picture? Well, neither one of us have a dog, and we certainly don't have a white dog. And so I didn't want that in there. So I've charted up a heart that would fit. Her and I met at Michigan State University, so green is a pretty good color for the both of us. So I decided that I would use approximately the color of green in this jacket to make this heart. And then you're seeing when her birthday was. So that's how I dated this project. You know, sometimes I put the year on extra, but this is how I did it so that we remembered when I gave it to her and what it was for. And then I have her initials and my initials on there. So I think I gave you all the details, but I just think it turned out so pretty. It took me hours to put it together, to fully finish it. But that's me. And to be honest, I think, yeah, this was like the first thing I really did a full finish on. And it was a gift. And I don't know about you, but when it's a gift, the pressure on that I put on myself goes up even higher than my normal pressure to have things just right. So it took a while, but when she brought it over to let me use it to show you guys and share it, her husband handed it to me and he's like, now you be careful with this. Like, you know, it was just a funny joke to us, I guess. All right, so that's my full finish. Kind of move it out of the way so I don't bump it here. All right, I have two more full finishes. I'm gonna start with Olga's Tart Plum Street Samplers. Here's the chart. Just as a reminder, I tried to stitch it mostly with called for colors, but I had to make some substitutions, substitutions so that because I couldn't find, you know, some of the colors weren't in stock, right? We all have faced that. It's stitched on 36 count Ren from Picture This Plus. And I showed you my circle last week. So here is the full finish. And I'll pull it out here for a second so you can see. Here's the back of the little stand, the little pedestal. Okay, so let's show the really good stuff. The pedestal came from Hobby Lobby in the spring, so I don't know if they have anything similar right now or not. And I used magnets and washers to attach Olga to it so that I can swap it out for something else because I really like this little stand. And let me grab my board again because that sun is really coming in. There we go. I think that helps. Okay, so I showed you last week the circle, excuse me, that I did. I covered foam core board with batting and then put my stitch over the batting, and then I laced the back to put it all together. And then I took, this is Tim Holtz Eclectic Elements line of fabric, and it's from Regions Beyond. How's that? I finally know the collection name. There's a couple of plaids in that collection, so this is one I chose to use. I tore a strip off the fabric to use for the ruffle. That was kind of hard for me to do because that's not my my comfort zone, we'll put it that way. Yeah, so I tore that, and then I just did a hand like basting stitch with, I used upholstery thread again so I could pull on it as much as I wanted, and created my circle of ruffle. And then I hand stitched that on the back, and then I cut a circle of felt and put on the back of that. So then if someday I want to tear it apart, I can, and my stitch is fine. Yep, okay. I'm gonna pause for a second and I'm gonna pull my blind down because that is making everything really hard to see, I think. Just a second. Okay, pulled the blind down, even angled the camera a little bit differently, and it looks like it's still really bright. So I apologize for that today. Maybe I'll get a little bit of a cloudiness, just enough to help with the video. So yeah, I was explaining what I did here. Okay, and then, so the ruffle, and then stitched on by hand a piece of felt. And then here I made a fabric covered button with this fabric, and then I just took a couple of extra strips of fabric and kind of tied them on the back of the button, and then just stitched that on there just to give it a little something. And I was considering like a bow or something down here, but I don't think I need that because when I display it, I'm going to have other stuff around it. And so I don't think I need all the extra. So I think it's good the way it is. I'll show you the back really quick here. Okay, so see, magnets. Here is the back. So you can see I stitched that on. I didn't worry about how perfect my stitching was, but mostly everything's kind of covered up, and then the washers are glued to the felt. So I could take this apart and pull off Olga and remount her if I wanted to. I don't think I'm gonna ever want to, but you know, I don't know. I like to be able to do that and preserve the stitching part, right? So yeah, so that's my finish on Olga. Oh! I'm really happy with it. I think it, excuse me, I think it turned out really good. All right. Now my other finish is actually not quite fully finished. I'll explain that in a second. But so this is Teresa Kogut Snarky Cat. called for colors. I stitched it on 36 count winter brew. That's an R&R fabric, I think. Called for colors. I stitched this early in the year of 2021, and I stitched 2 floss threads over 2 fabric threads. And we kind of talked about that before, which seems really goofy to me now, but I don't know. It worked out fine. So here is my finish. And that's why it's not fully finished. I couldn't have done that better. Okay, so for anyone that wants to know, it says, text me if you need toilet paper. I know you're on your phone. Which is really funny, but not, I wouldn't have that in my house, but in general. But the box was the perfect size. So it's one of these that has, you know, the lip on it and stuff, right? And then you can see my Sharpie lines here and here, because let me give you a little tip that I learned the not so good way, I guess. Okay, so if I put this in here, okay, so I'm holding it up snugly to the top here. You can see there's a little bit of a gap at the bottom. And so I colored it with Sharpie to kind of get rid of the white, because you could kind of almost see the reflection of the white. Not much, but just enough that I'm like, oh, I'll just color it with Sharpie. So, so my tip, so I used foam core again for this. I don't know if just regular sticky board would work the same way, but when you lace the back of something and you pull it snug, you're kind of pulling on the foam core. And so you don't need your foam core cut a little smaller than the opening to allow for space for the fabric and the batting, because it pulls it snugly for you and then it can't fit in there tight. Did that make sense? I hope so. Oh, anyway, so I messed around with a few things to try to think, and it's fine. This is part of that. I have to let go of perfection and just move on. It looks good. So, let's see. Well, a benefit of it not being sealed down, I can show you the back. So you can see I laced that up. Piece of foam core board. I have a rotary cutter that I use just for paper, cardboard, foam core. And I use that with the quilting rulers and my self-healing mats to cut out a piece of this foam core, because it's like poster size. And then, like I said, a layer of batting so that it just gives it a little, I feel like that helps hold the stitches in case something wanted to wiggle out of place, just in case. And I also like that it's not perfectly flat and it's not stuck with adhesive to something. Again, if I ever want to tear it apart, I can snip off these stitches and pull it apart. The only thing I did do, okay, so this trim, so this is a piece of, I think the trim is called like frayed edge velvet. And it's like the perfect color green to help me balance this out, because the box was a little bit long, right? I'd have a lot of empty space. So I wanted to make it be weighted at the bottom visually, right? And then this is just twine that I took 3 strands of and braided it, wrapped it around, and then I tied it in a knot and chopped off the ends to give a little. So yeah, I mean, I think it turned out really good, except for learning that foam core shrinks, or not shrink exactly, but you don't have to be so, like, make allowances for fabric space in the margins. So the other reason I don't have this attached, oh, and the twine is just wrapped around and tied. The ribbon, I did use some double-sided craft tape to adhere that. Excuse me. So the other reason that this is not adhered into the box yet, which it will be, I feel like these two corners are a little bare, and I'm not sure yet, or they might be fine. I haven't decided. So I messed with that for a long time yesterday when I was finishing this. And I'm probably going to put it together and just leave it be. One of the things I was thinking about was, like, if I wrap something around the whole corner, so then I could go ahead and adhere this into the box so it stays, and then it would be done. So I don't know, that may not be anything that gets done soon. How's that for the lighting? Maybe if I just move over a little bit. I think there are a few clouds out there because the sun seems to get brighter and then not quite as bright. So yeah, Snarky Cat. So cute. And it amazes me how the designers, in this case Teresa Kogut, could, with a few stitches on her chart, create a facial expression. Isn't that amazing? I think that's amazing. Like, and that literally, other than the fact that this cat seems to be pretty chubby and our Jasper is not, he's just this little guy. But the facial expression is exactly him. And how, I don't know, that just amazes me that designers with a few well-placed stitches, and then I put it together and it looks like that. I don't know. Designers are awesome because I can't do that stuff. I can mess around and be creative, but an artist, I don't consider myself. I don't know if there's others of you out there that feel that way. Let's see. Okay, so that's finishes. Or, I'm sorry, full finishes. Let's get it right. So I had one finish this week. And it's so cute. I love it. Okay, so it is Two Pumpkins Bright from Hello from Liz Mathews. I'll hold that a little closer so you can see the picture. Excuse me. Like I said, Two Pumpkins Bright, Hello from Liz Mathews. I stitched this using the called for colors, except for it called for DMC 310 black, and I swapped that for Anchor 403 black. And I know I told you last time, I love Anchor floss on the spools. I stitched this on 40 count Grandpa's sleeve from XJU Design. And again, love this fabric, love it. And the chart, I'm sorry, I want to hold it straight because it is so cute. But there's my finish. Am I wiggling it? Am I making you sick? I hope not. The sun is behaving. So yeah, so those are the details. You can see I added my initials and the date over there on the side. And I've had a couple questions about my initials, like how do I do them? This is back stitched. I don't know if you can, I think you can see that pretty good. It's back stitched using one thread over one fabric thread. So it gives a lot of detail. I think that, and this particular piece of fabric, it worked so good. But yeah, so that's my finish. My goal is to fully finish this week. I have a couple ideas, but I'm not 100% yet. One idea is to do another kind of a little box frame, like I just showed you with Snarky Cat. So I have one, it's black, that may work. I don't know yet. I have to look at it a little more and try to decide. Is this so cute? And again, the position of the stitches, like, look at the spiders in the spider web. Like, I could not chart this if my life depended on it, but I can stitch it. And it just turns out so good. I told you all the details about that, right? I feel like I'm forgetting something. I told you I love anchor floss on the spool. I told you I love XJU design fabric, 40 count in particular. That's my experience so far. Oh, I didn't mention, I love Liz Mathews charting. It's so, I mean, we all love her designs. Those are easy to tell, but this is the first time I've actually stitched one, and her chart is like big and you can read it and it's clear. And even though it's not in color, it's black and white, but her symbols are easy to see and distinguish, which we know sometimes that gets frustrating. And just, so I love the design of it. So everything about that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me post my progress on that this week, right? As I've been working on it. And I think almost every post I tell you how much I love all three of those things on this project. Sorry for getting distracted. My college-age son just peeked at I have glass French doors on my craft room, and he just peeked in here at me and was like pointing that he's gonna leave and say goodbye. All right. Excuse me. All right, so FFOs, previous FFO finish. So not a lot of work in progress going on this week. A little tiny bit. So I'll show you the little tiny bit I have. It's one thing. So October's Party from Little House Needleworks. Okay. I'm not even sure. I don't remember for sure what I had. Oh, let me get my board. I'm not sure where I left off that I showed you before. I know I don't remember. So called for colors, they're Classic Colorworks. As a reminder, Colonial Copper from Classic Colorworks. When I've been using it, I swear it has a metallic sheen on it. It's really awesome. And I used it here for PENNY. Yeah, I'm gonna point that out to you every time. I think that turned out really cool. I think maybe I've done this border down here. The arches that are, it's like the penny border on this design. Like I said, not tons of progress because I was obsessed with Two Pumpkins Bright and I wanted to finish it. So, the fabric, love this fabric. It's Fiber on a Whim, 40 count, brown sugar. And you can see like the green modeling in it. It just goes perfectly with this particular chart. So yeah, so that's where I'm at on that. Like I said, not a ton of work. I'm hoping to get a lot more accomplished on that this week as I have time, because I'll talk about what my plans are here coming up. And Probably won't leave a lot of time for actual stitching per se. But I don't know about you, but okay, the stitching is my favorite part by far. This whole finishing business, I do it because I want to look at my stuff and I want to enjoy it. So there's so many options and I can make all the choices, where a chart, it's like you're given directions. Here's what you need to do. Maybe make a couple of design changes as you want. But basically I'm given instructions and I can follow them. That's what I like to do. But finishing is like you come up with your ideas on how you want to do things and how, you know, do I add trim or not, or which trims, or frame it, or pillow, or whatever. So sometimes I get lost in the weeds, as my husband would say, and I try to pull myself back out of there if I find that I could, because I almost feel like I'm spinning my wheels when I'm in the middle of, you know, creating a finish, and I look at my watch and I'm like, how long have I been working on this and thinking about this? No, just make a decision and go with it. So that's still a work in progress for me, and probably always will be, right? I just have to accept that. But so my point was, the stitching is my favorite part. And so thinking that October's party may be the only like stitching that I do this week coming up, I don't know if I can do that. Probably not. I have a couple other fall whips that may get pulled out too. So anyway, October's party, and then just a little update on another whip that I did nothing. That's nothing for, is my Stitch Pink quilt. So I was just showing you the picture as a reminder. I have the first block done, which is this one up here in the corner. I have the white background, all the white background. I have all of those pieces cut, and then I have 2 of the other colors. I have 8 colors still to cut. I just wasn't feeling motivated to work on it, I guess, this week. I got involved with finishing, and I'm not sure what else, but like I said, I feel like I didn't do that work on much this week. I don't know. I want to say thank you to so many of you who have given me, I'll call it encouragement and support and schedule ideas for working on this quilt. I mean, obviously I intended on stitching a block a day in the month of October and have a completed quilt top at the end of October. I don't think I could do that now, even if all I did was work on it. Maybe, but I don't want to. That's not what I want to focus on. So I don't have a specific goal on when I want to have it finished now. I'm trying to focus on the fact that it is a celebration quilt for my cure. And so I should enjoy it and take my time if that's what I need to get it done. And that kind of sums up what a lot of you are telling me. You're also giving me helpful hints on how you go about if you cut everything or if you sneak in a few blocks to kind of break it up, or exactly how you do it. So I appreciate all of that input, and I'm still going to work forward on trying to get it all cut, although I may choose a few different colors to cut rather than just going down the list, in order to take a minute or take a break, if that's a good way to put it, and make at least 1 more block, maybe 2. So like I said, I don't have a specific goal now. I would love to have it done by the end of the year, at least the quilt top, but we'll see what I am doing. When I talk about my plans, then you'll kind of see where I'm headed. And one real good thought I've had is, you know, why don't I try to just sneak in, like maybe cut up one color of fabric on a particular day and maybe skip a day and then do another or whatever, but I can do that and do some other things to kind of intersperse it and get that part done. So anyway, that's an update on that. And I just wanted to say a big thank you for everybody who's trying to help encourage me with it. So I am going to take a little break and get a couple things more organized over here by the camera, and I'll be right back. All right, so I had some haul this week. Some of it's just kind of boring. Like, I got more white background fabric for my stitch pink quilt so I could make sashing on it. And I bought a couple more, sorry, I have a hair like blowing in my face. A couple of quilting rulers to help me cut fabric. The long rectangular ruler that I had was slipping around a little bit when I was cutting. It was very frustrating. So I'm trying another one. So, and then I ordered some stuff from Hobby Lobby because they had free shipping, I don't know, a week and a half ago. I don't remember when it was exactly. And so, like, I got some trims and a couple of extra things, just some stuff to have for finishing. What I did get was, so I'll show you a couple things I want to show you, but I did get my October floss pack. This is Classic Colorworks from Southern Stitchers Co. So you can see the colors. I don't like to take it apart because I like to see all the colors together. These are so fun to get. And then I look at them. Eventually I'll open it and use them. I just don't know when. For right now, I'll just kind of collect them because they're fun. So Hobby Lobby, a couple things, and this also gives me another excuse to show you some fully finished objects again. So from Hobby Lobby, I got this wooden easel, and it was, I don't know, $5? I don't remember. Like, it was so not expensive. It's got like a black painted finish, but it is perfect. See? I can put that little Happy Halloween right on there, and switch it out. It's just the perfect size for this. So, not that this is what will always be on there, but I can put other stuff on there. So I was really excited with that. And then, to kind of go along with the easel thing, I think this is called it's called a book stand. Okay, so it's galvanized metal. Can you see that? And there's the stand, right? I just put a magnet on here. I mean, I need to add a little something on there but it's white, so that's okay too, right? This is hard to do in front of the camera on the side. It's not perfectly on there, but so then I could put this moonstruck finish on here and then stand it up. But you know, I don't have to use a magnet and hang something on here. Depending on how big it is, it could sit in the little tray here. So I really like this. So I'm thinking I'm gonna collect a few more of those because I can swap those out and put different stuff on there seasonally, right? So yeah, so I was tickled with those. And again, the galvanized metal tablet stand was on sale. Oh, here, it's got the tag on it. So it's tagged at $13.99. I don't remember if it was 40 or 50% off, but so not a bad price for something pretty cool that you can do a lot with and change it out pretty easy, if nothing else, with magnets, right? So I like that. And then, like I said, I got a couple quilting rulers and some more white background fabric from Fat Quarter Shop. And I have the Fat Quarter bundle of this collection, Urban Farmhouse Gatherings 2. And so I bought a charm pack to go with it. Then if I want to do like a patchwork project bag, I can use this rather than breaking up my bundle. There's my bundle right there over my shoulder. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's part of what I want to work on, and why I don't want to spend all my time on my quilt is I want to make a few project bags. And then the other thing I got was, so this is Grunge Basics Glorious Autumn, but was this a jelly roll? Yes, junior jelly roll, because there's only 20 strips in here, I think. Aren't the colors wonderful? Like, that's so inspiring. So I got it just to have for finishing. I'm not sure what I'm going to finish with it yet, but the colors, like I said, were really inspiring to me. So that's a couple of fun things. So, all right. Last thing I want to talk to you about are my plants. I have to tell you a fun story. I found a frame that I wanted, and when my husband was out at his office yesterday, and then he took off for lunch for a little while, he went to Kohl's and got this frame for me, which I'll show you in just a second. While he was there, he was asking me if there was anything else that I wanted him to look at, because he knew I was trying to finish some things. And so I told him about something that I wanted. And he went looking for it, and he calls me, and then he texts me pictures, and I can't find this, but I found this. Anyway, my point of my story is he is in Kohl's shopping for me for finishing items. And he brought home a couple things for me that I said that I liked. And so, he chuckled at my story last time when I told you about showing him my Olga circle and how he wasn't exactly overwhelmed with emotion at it, but that it was, after a long day of work, and he had worked late, and it was pretty late at night when I was showing it to him. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone knows just how supportive he is of this. He really is. To be honest, I think he does show excitement and feel excitement about a lot of what I do. I just need to be better about the timing of when I'm sharing it with him. So 9:30 on a Thursday night, after he's only been home for maybe 30 minutes and working all day, that's not the time, right? So anyway, so I just wanted to give him a shout out. So he's pretty awesome. Did I ever say his name? His name is Jeff. And I almost never use that word. When I say Jeff, it sounds weird. So anyway, yeah, so he's really great. So, plans. Since I finished 2 Pumpkins Bright, I now have no Halloween stitching projects started. I have at least a couple kitted up, actually more than, I'm gonna say maybe 3 or 4 kitted up, except for I need to select some fabric. I think I'm gonna put those away and save them. I'm not gonna say necessarily till next year when I feel like stitching Halloween. I may do something between now and then. Maybe I'll just feel like pulling one out. I don't know. But for right now, I'm going to put away Halloween stitching. And I'm gonna stitch fall things that, you know, I can have out. So like October's party, even though it's October, I'm putting that as, it's a fall thing, and it's gonna, quite honestly, that one, because it's so special to me with my mom, will probably sit out all the time. So that's not really a fall to me, but I have a few others that's what I'm gonna kind of stitch on now, is fall. I may have some new starts, I don't know. I know I have a couple things around that either are fully kitted up or at least have floss, or I have floss that I can use. So my goal is, I would really like in the next week to get all of my Halloween items that I have stitched into a fully finish. Let's see how I can do that. I'm not sure. Well, I can try. So first up, and this is the frame that my husband went and picked up for me. It's just a black 8x10, which is almost the perfect size for Hilda Boo. But it's a little big, and I need a little something to jazz it up. So what I'm gonna do is use Priscilla's Pretty Plaids and wrap a board that's the 8x10 with that. And then I'm gonna take another board that to fit to size of the stitching of Hilda Boo and mount it on there. I just wanted to point out, yesterday after I finished Two Pumpkins Bright and I got my initials done, I was feeling like really motivated about it, and I'm like, I am just gonna pull Hilda Boo out, and I'm just gonna get my initials on there, and I'm gonna go with it. So after all the hours that I spent, I'll call it fighting with it, because I just couldn't find anything that I liked, I just decided, all right, I'm just gonna put it down here, because the few stitches worth that added, I know when I finish this and wrap a board with it, I know that I'm gonna have those few stitches of margin anyway. And so I will center my board between the borders. This will just be a little extra in the margin. And I think that turned out okay. I don't love it. It was hard to stitch 1/1 on this fabric, and I think it's just kind of the weave of it. So anyway, that's my plan on that. And then I have, it's a bit of piping, I'll call it, which it is, but it's has a little texture to it. This is probably gonna go around Hilda Boo herself, the board. And then I'm gonna probably put a bow at the top. I don't know, I'm not holding this very well. A bow at the top, and I'm not sure which of these ribbons I'm gonna use. And maybe I'll decide when I get to that point that I don't like either one. I don't know, but those are my intentions. And I've had several of you tell me how much you like seeing kind of my process. I think that's what it was called, or what my intentions were for finishing. So like I said, 8x10 frame. Hilda Boo is stitched with the called for colors. It's a 30 count even weave. So I stitched 2/2, and it's the color Witches Brew, the plural Witches, WITCHES, Brew, from Southern Stitchers Co. And I don't have the dimensions written down on exactly how big that came out to be. If I remember right, it's something like 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, I think. So like I said, 8 by 10 black frame, and then Priscilla's Pretty Plaits to give it a little jazz. All right, and then I'll show you my others. So there's one. Let's see if I can keep track of how many of these I have. That's very funny. I probably will lose track, right? Okay, so Midnight Dreamer from Woolly U. Showed this to you a couple of times recently, but definitely want to get a finish on this. And I have it planned out, okay? I've got this little circle trim, coin trim, flat pom-pom trim. I don't know what you want to call it. It's black that I'm going to use. And this fabric, which is the Tim Holtz Eclectic Elements Regions Beyond plaid. It's a perfect, I don't know, it's not showing great in the camera, but it's like perfect color matching. It will look beautiful. So I know what I'm going to do with that. I just need to start work, you know, do the process of finishing it. So that's number 2. Number 3 is Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, Lollies, Candy Corn, and something. Can't remember the name of it. This is the one that's an exclusive on her site. And it's come into stock and gone out of stock, and it's a little kit that you get with the chart. So it has a little tray that you can finish and some candy corn, little felted wool candy corn embellishments, little doodads. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm having like such a brain fog here. Okay, so anyway, I'm on debate here. This is either going to go in a black box frame, or I might make it into a pillow. If I make it into a pillow, I'm going to add some fabric down here so that my stitching isn't hidden when I display it in a dough bowl or my metal trough or whatever I end up doing with it. Excuse me. So anyway, that's I'm not sure yet, but so that's number 3. Called for colors, except I subbed out for the big pumpkin. I used Weeks Dye Works Persimmon because I wanted a little variation in the color, and it called for a DMC. I'm sorry, I don't remember what DMC it was, but so I used Persimmon from Weeks Dye Works to get a little variation in the color of the big the big jack-o'-lantern basket, and the cheek color I then changed to go with it. Stitched on 36 count fiber on a whim wheat. And I don't remember the size of that. I was searching my brain because usually numbers I can remember. That I can remember. Faces I can remember. Names, I'm so bad at remembering names, and it's embarrassing sometimes. But tell me your phone number. Well, back in the day, you know, when us old people used rotary dial phones, I could remember people's phone numbers always, and like birth dates and stuff. I remember all that stuff. But in your face, I won't ever forget your face that I met you. I might not be able to remember where I met you or how I met you. In your name, I'm so bad at it. I'm trying to get better, but Does anyone else have that problem? Okay, so that's 3 Halloween things that I want to fully finish. Here's number 4. And I showed this to you recently. So this is a freebie chart from Doreen Jones, and you can access those on her Facebook page, I know. I think this is a 28 count linen, flax or natural, whatever it was, you know, it's one of the kind of general ones. Stitched 2/2, called for colors. How am I going to finish this? No idea. I was kind of thinking maybe a little pillow would be fun because it would be a fun shape, but add like, I don't know, add fabric to it so it's not just a tall skinny. I don't know. The other thing I was thinking about was trying to do a, is it called a flat fold? Vanna has tutorial, and I think that's what everyone calls them. I think she would lend herself well to that type of finish. So I don't know. I'm sorry I don't have ideas for you. I wish I could come up with something. I'm not sure. Here's another one. I don't have any idea what I'm gonna do yet. Because of the size of her, I think I'm leaning towards a frame, but I gotta find one. This is Witchy Poo from Teresa Kogut. I stitched it using the called for colors, and I think this was the called for fabric. It's Confederate Gray from Weeks Dye Works, right? I think. Confederate Gray, I know the color is right. 30 count, so I stitched it 2/2. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with her yet. So I lean towards a frame. I think she's a little big for a pillow. For like a dough bowl type pillow. And that's what I feel like she would be good for. So, all right. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my last one, so 6. I have 6 that I want to fully finish. I can accomplish this if I just won't get to stitch as much this week, but it would feel really good to have these done and be able to look at them at least for a few days before it's time to put them away. So this last one is the Bats and Booze Stitch Along from Fat Quarter Shop. Freebie chart, you can get it on Fat Quarter Shop website. I stitched I bought the thread pack, so it's Weeks Dye Works threads that I used, called for colors, obviously, if I bought the thread pack. I stitched this on, it's 25 count Lugana, and it's a Lori Holt piece of fabric. Is it oatmeal? I'm sorry, I didn't pull out my notes on what I stitched that on. If you really want to know, number 1, you could go to my Instagram and find this because I know I have it listed there, or ask me and I'll look it up and specifically tell you or share with you what I used, the fabric color name. This, I know what I want to finish it in. I have that, let's see, I'm doing this backwards. See that Fat Quarter pack? It's Midnight Magic 2. Yep. April Rosenthal, Midnight Magic 2. And those fabrics are perfect with this. And so I'm going, excuse me, I'm going to do a pillow, but like a sofa pillow, you know, a toss pillow. Not that anyone's going to use it to lay on. No, it's for looks, but it's just going to be big. So yeah, I just want to get that done too. All right, so 6 Halloween finishes to make into full finishes. That's what I would like to get done in the next week. I think I might be able to if I really focus, especially because I already have some jumping off ideas on some stuff, so I'll work on it. And then, like I said, October's party, I want to stitch on that. And I'd really love to finish that this week too, because I really like it and I really would like to finish it. Which, I don't know if you remember, I'm stitching with my friend Michelle, but she finished hers. Michelle? I'm kind of jealous, but then I'm like, do you feel like that when you're stitching something with somebody? Like you want to have it done at the same time, but then you go, wait, I was working on such and such. So in my case, I was working on 2 pumpkins bright. Anyway, and then if I feel like it and I get some time squeezed in there, I'm going to do some cutting on my quilt. So those are my intentions. We'll see what happens. I thought this was going to be a little bit shorter of a video this time, and I still find things to talk about. Yeah, I'm a talker. What can I say? And I keep getting comments from you guys that you tell me the videos aren't too long and you just get to stitch while I'm talking. So I hope you still feel that way. All right, I am going to go get stuff picked up and get this put together so that I can get it uploaded and you guys can view it. And then hopefully I'll have some time later on today to work on some stuff. So I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you again for all your lovely compliments and your feedback and your encouragement and just sharing your time with me. I appreciate that you choose to spend time watching my videos, and any of the extra time that you take to send me a comment or a message or something. I read everything, and I think everybody knows that. I try to reply. But yeah, this has been really fun and I really like doing it. So I hope that you all can continue to enjoy it too. And I'm gonna go get some stuff done. I hope you got a lot done while you were watching. I will see you again soon.